You've waited all year, and now it's time. The largest event purse in United Kennel Club history. 1,100 coonhounds qualified with 5 cast wins in 2020. 655 dogs ran the April regionals. 64 dogs have advanced and are here now for their chance at the $200,000 total purse. It's the United Kennel Club's Tournament of Champions. Who will be our champion? Who will take home $50,000? It's time. Are you ready?
Welcome to the United Kennel Club Tournament of Champions. Now, I'm J. Paul Jackson, your host here in Greencastle, Indiana, at our beautiful venue here, and I have my co-host here with me, a living legend in the coonhound world, Mr. Steve Fielder. Steve, great to have you with us. Are you excited about being here, brother?
J. Paul, I am so pumped about this event. You know, we've been waiting for this thing all year, all through the rough year that we've had, you know, with the events and everything that's happening, and now we're here. It's time for the finals. We got 64 great dogs that are going to go at it here in a little while, and it's just an awesome time to be here for sure.
Yes, sir. It's going to be a great event. And I'll tell you, we're at a great venue to have it at also. We're here in Greencastle, Indiana. We're at Three Fat Labs estate, and the people here at Three Fat Labs have been absolutely wonderful and gracious hosts to us. Tonight, we've got 64 of the top coonhounds in the nation that are going to go out and cast. So let's run through what's going to happen here this weekend. Starting out tonight, we're going to start out with 64 teams. Now, these teams qualified to get here through regional qualifiers, and I'm going to let you tell us a little bit more about that in a minute, Steve. But basically the breakdown is this. We're starting with 64 here in just a little bit. Our buddy Alan Gingrich, Director of Hunting Ops for the United Kennel Club, he will do the cast call, and we'll send these 64 dogs out in 16 individual casts of 4 dogs each. So the goal tonight isn't to beat the other 63 dogs. They simply need to beat the other 3 dogs in their cast to advance on to the semifinals tomorrow night. So we're going to start out here tonight, here in just a few minutes with Alan and the cast call. We're going to narrow it down from 64 to 16. Then tomorrow night, be sure and join us right back here on YouTube Live, UKC channel, because we're going to start at 8:30 Eastern Time, and we're going to bring you the top 16 teams. Now, these teams will go out in yet another cast, 4 dogs, 4 casts. At the end of that, the top dog from each cast will advance, and we'll have our final 4 go off sometime tomorrow night in the finals here at the United Kennel Club Tournament of Champions. Steve, tell us a little bit about how these guys got here.
Well, first of all, the dogs had to go out and win 5 casts in UKC competition. Now, UKC put this program together, and I think it's really pretty brilliant what they did. They wanted to increase the entries at the local clubs, which we know in all forms of sports, club memberships and so forth are kind of waning the last few years. Well, UKC came up with this, what I think is a brilliant idea of having the dogs go out and win 5 casts in UKC competition. Now, these are dogs of all titles, registered night champion, grand night champion, and the various degrees of the grand night champion degree. The other thing they wanted to, so they wanted to increase club membership. The other thing they wanted to do is bring a lot of these grand night champions out of retirement back to the clubs competing, which helps the clubs boost entries and so forth. So the plan worked really to perfection on both counts, and I think there was upwards of 1,050 dogs that qualified by getting those 5 cast wins throughout the year. And then once they earned that qualification, they entered the Tournament of Champions. And then they had the choice of 5 regional hunts to go to, kind of like a semifinal type arrangement in 5 parts of the country. There was Iowa and Ohio and Kentucky and Georgia and Arkansas. So all around the country, these best of the best hounds came out and they competed in a regional, and that regional went off just great. And from the region, they advanced 64 dogs to the finals. And that's what we have here tonight, is those 64 dogs have been narrowed down from the overall field of 1,050, and that field was much larger than that when you consider all the dogs that entered trying to get those 5 cast wins but didn't succeed. So it's quite a deal for sure.
That's awesome. I'll tell you. So now we know how these guys got here tonight. It obviously was an arduous task for some of these folks to get here, but hey, we've got the cream of the crop here.
Absolutely.
64 of the best. They're vying for the largest purse in United Kennel Club history, $200,000 total purse. And we're less than 24 hours away from having our Tournament of Champions winner walk away with a check for $50,000. So it's a big weekend here. Looks like we're about to have the cast call. Alan's about ready. Tell us what the cast call is and what's about to happen here.
Okay, what they will do now, they'll take these 64 entries, and they have designated judges for this event. There'll be 16 casts that go to the woods, 16 groups of 4 that will go, and each will have a judge and a guide, okay? And those have been assigned to a card, a scorecard, all right? And now all of the entries are put into a hat, so to speak, and are drawn randomly out, like a raffle type thing. They're drawn out, 4 to each card, okay? And that forms what we call a cast. That word comes from the term of free casting the dogs out into the night. So they will be totally randomly drawn, and each group of 4 then will proceed out to the woods with their judge and guide and compete for 2 hours.
Very interesting. So now you've got the mechanics of how the cast call works. It looks like Alan's getting back there about ready for it, but before we go to the cast call, let's take a moment to give a little bit of love to Eukanuba, our performance dog nutrition partner here at the United Kennel Club.
They're partners, ready to do whatever it takes. Athletes that pound for pound can outrun, outwork, and outperform anybody you're watching on Sunday. No contract required. You don't waste that kind of potential. You train it, fuel it, unleash it. You activate the power that sits ready and waiting inside every fiber of muscle. You fill every last cell with the energy to push harder than whatever gets in the way. You turn drive into overdrive, natural ability into legendary status. And to do it, you need nutrition that holds nothing back. Introducing the all-new Eukanuba Premium Performance lineup. Built to run full throttle on protein and fat, then find another gear. Made with nutrients that are customized for what your dog does. GI technology that supports optimal nutrient delivery. And an antioxidant cocktail that helps day 3 feel like day 1. Where your dog peaks depends on how far their fuel can take them. The all-new Eukanuba Premium Performance lineup. 4 formulas to hold nothing back.
Welcome back to the United Kennel Club Tournament of Champions here in Greencastle, Indiana. Now, I'm J. Paul Jackson here with our co-host and expert analyst Steve Fielder here at 3 Fat Lab Estates, and we've had our intro tonight, and we're about to get down to the meat of it. We've got 64 dogs that are about to go out in the field tonight. They're going to go out, as we talked about before, in 16 casts of 4 dogs each. So looks like Alan's about ready. Let's start the cast call.
Absolutely. Showtime.
Showtime, baby.
For our Tournament of Champions cast call. Cast number 1. Your judge and guide is going to be Tyler Pettit. Babe. Dog is owned by Ron Chapman and Steve Burkholder. Dog number 2 will be from Garden City, Missouri, named Jess Dickerson. Night champion Timber Axe. Dog is owned by Jess Dickerson. Need from Chucky, Tennessee, Carter Maupin. Night champion Awesome's American Gangster. Paul Maupin and Charlie Kiter, the owners. Need from Jonesville, South Carolina, Royce Taylor. With Grand Night champion Cane Creek Spider-Man. Mark Smith is the owner. Cast number 1.
No, I don't have a chance.
Cast number 2,
So-
Cody Carter will be your guide and judge. Need from Elizabethton, Tennessee, James Erickson. With Grand Night champion Jukebox Mama Tried. A need from Middlebury, Indiana, Carlisle Miller with Grand Night champion Midnight Wax Star. Dog is owned by Jay Miller and Tyler Sturry. We need from Carrollton, Kentucky, Kevin Morehouse. Night champion Stevenson's Willow. This dog is owned by Kevin. Need from Lake City, South Carolina, Chris Walker with Night champion Sugar Britches. Dog is owned by Nathan Tilson. Cast number 2.
So there we have our second cast of the night. Now, what I think is really interesting about this, Steve, is the fact that in our very first cast, we actually saw 4 different breeds in the 4 dogs. We had a crossbreed there and 4 others. Moving to cast number 2, we've got 4 treeing walkers.
Yeah. How about that, the way it works, huh? Yeah, you know, we didn't get a chance to talk too much about that first cast, but real briefly, there's some real heavy hitters in there. Of course, we, you know, the Timber Axe dog with Jess Dickerson. You know, Jess is a veteran. He's won the world championship. He's been around forever. You got this hot babe female that's crossbred. She's out of the Big Country dog, which is the hottest stud dog in the country right now.
And bred to a lot of different breeds out there as well. And then that brings us to the transition here in Cast 2, where we've got, you know, the crossbreed out of Big Country, and in Cast 2 we've got 4 treeing walkers. So interesting dichotomy.
Oh, it
there.
is, for
Looks
sure.
like Alan is ready with cast number 3.
All right,
so
let's-
let's flip it over to him.
Let's see what we got.
All right, cast number 3. Justin Haddon will be your guide. Judge will be Jason Cooper. Need from Grundy, Virginia, Randy Lester with Grand Night Champion 2, Mountaintop Slow Talking Bow. Need from Lorain, Ohio, David Rice. With Night Champion Deepwood, Zoe Bell. This dog is co-owned with Chad Anderson. Need from Bartow, Georgia. Al McNeely with McNeely's Juice. That's going to be a Grand Night champion owned by Al. Need from Charleston, Arkansas, Cody Fox with Night champion Foxwoods Little Jewel, owned and handled by Cody Fox. Cast number 3.
So we've got our third cast there. What stands out in that cast to you, Steve?
Well, immediately you see this only entry for the American Leopard Hound breed, which is a fairly new breed with UKC. And it's good to see this dog out here competing in the Tournament of Champions, you know, with the big 6 that we normally see at the Coonhound events, you know. But looking here, we've got an English and 2 walkers, and again the American Leopard. So that's going to be interesting to see how the leopard breed stacks up against these other breeds.
Yeah, and the lone representative of the American Leopard Hound as well here. So
Carrying the
cast 3
flag.
is going to be one we definitely want to watch for that dog. And
Yeah.
let's take a look at cast 4.
They just want to be as cool as we are. It'll never happen.
All right, cast number 4, Robert Stallcop will be your guide and judge. I need from Mount Vernon, Ohio, Jason Smith with Night Champion Smith's Blue Dream and Tess. Need from Belton, South Carolina, Jeremy Gerard with Grand Night Champion Carolina Creek Moonshine. I need from Douglas, Georgia, Daryl Main with Night Champion the American Power Trip. Dog is owned by Ashley Guthrie. And need from Frankfort, Kentucky, Floyd Quire with Grand Night Champion County Line Big. Cast number 4.
Interesting cast again. We've got a variety of dogs. What's one thing you can pick out here, Steve?
Well, the thing I see here is this lonesome 2 dog, the blue tick, you know, is in there with the 3 treeing walkers. So it's going to be interesting to see how that blue dog performs there, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of people love the blue dogs.
Amen. I like the blue tick hound. So we're a fourth of the way through our cast call. Let's go back to Alan Gingrich with cast number 5.
All right, cast number 5. Tom Lynch will be your guide. Your judge is going to be Luke Stark. Need from Oneida, Kentucky, Sean Four with Night Champion Bowling Screaming Hawk. Daryl Bowling is the owner. Need from Oakwood, Ohio, Dakota Scott with Grand Night Champion Stylish Brutus. Dog is co-owned with by Steve Scott and Steve Akers. Need from Guysville, Ohio, John Irvin with Grand Night Champion Stover's Charlie Creek Bad Butch. Dog is owned by Bill Stover. And we need from Albany, Illinois, John Stever with Grand Night Champion Stever's Mighty Lonesome 2. Cast number 5.
So our 5th cast of the night about to go off here in a second. All these guys are spread out a little bit through the upper Midwest. Anybody a standout in that cast?
Well, we have the same situation here. 1 blue tick against 3 walkers in this cast. Now, I misspoke a little bit. The Tess female blue tick was the lone blue tick in the previous cast, and now Lonesome 2 was in this cast. But it's the same scene played out. 1 blue tick, 3 walkers.
We're going to see a lot of that tonight with 44 treeing walkers in the field. So let's take a look at what we have in cast number 6.
All right, cast number 6. Your guide is going to be Jared Hutchison. The judge is going to be Jason Smith. I need from Mercer, Missouri, Ryan Croson with Night Champion Insane Venus. Dog is owned by Jeremy Michaelis. Need from Size Rock, Kentucky, Eric Bolin with Night Champion Stylish Touchdown. Dog is owned by Chris Bowling and Randall Sizemore. Need from Nowata, Oklahoma, Braxton Wills with Night Champion Neosho River Queen Bee. Let me just remind you, this is a 12-year-old kid that got his own dog qualified for the Tournament of Champions. How about that? How about that? Last but not least, from Newcomers Town, Ohio, Night Champion Rocky Creek Sundrop, Jacob Barton is the handler. The dog is owned by Chad Nay and Jacob Barton. Cast number 6.
I'll tell you what, Steve, you don't have to be an expert to know what stood out about cast number 6. Just the applause alone. I mean, we've got Queen Bee here, 12-year-old young man. Had the pleasure of meeting him earlier tonight. Shows tremendous poise. Looks like he's super excited to be here and definitely going to be a crowd favorite for this.
Absolutely. I mean, confident young man, ready to go to the woods. Age doesn't matter. Call that dog, know that dog, come home a winner, son. There you go.
We're wishing him a lot of luck tonight. Now let's move on to cast number 7.
All right, cast number 7. Keith Hutchinson will be your guide. Your judge is going to be Mark Van Deventer. And he's from Bourbon, Indiana. Dual Murphy with night champion Is It Good to You, Melvin. This dog is owned by John Watkins and Dual Murphy. And he's from Size Rock, Kentucky. Chris Bowling with Grand Night champion Old South Stylish Knockout. Dog is also owned by Chris. And he's from Westminster, South Carolina, night champion Bad Habits Preacher Man, Caleb Griffin. And from Hiawassee, Georgia, Travis Silvers with Grand Night champion Shake and Bake Flow. This dog is owned by Jacob Parker, cast number 7.
Well, there we have our 7th cast of these, evening cast number 7. Thing that stands out to me is we've got our second crossbreed of the evening there.
That's right. You know, the crossbred's getting to be pretty popular in UKC, and that one certainly stands out. I think that cast kind of gets the nod so far for unique names for the dogs in the cast. But, yeah,
all
should
right,
be
cast
exciting.
number 8, Braden Jones is going to be your guide. Your judge is Tim Bolden. And he's from Coburn, Virginia, Brett Hall with night champion Falls Creek Master Lock. This dog is co-owned with Rocky Hall. And he's from Upper Sandusky, Ohio, Jimmy Ridgway with Grand Night champion MG Hardwood Firefly, owned by Ed Godfrey or Tom Morgan. And he's from Watkinsville, Georgia, Alan Bridges with night champion Swamp Bottom Star 4. Dog is owned by Gregory Irvin. And then we need from Montour, Iowa, Grand Night champion Mosquito Creek, Bandanos, Bugs, Jacob, and Jack Bingham, cast number 8.
Okay, so folks, we're halfway through our cast, 16, 8 of them down. Give me your thoughts after looking at the first half of the field. What stands out to you, Steve?
Oh, man, we've got some real veteran handlers in here. We have some novice handlers in here. We've got a real good mix of the breeds in this cast that we just called. We've got 2 red dogs in there. One is a red bone, the other is a red tick, an English red tick. So, and 2 walkers, of course.
Continue to see that variety in there.
Yeah.
Let's go to the second half of the
Kevin Cook
field.
is going to be your guide. Your judge is going to be Jeff Murphy. And he's from Denton, Kentucky, Tom Wall with Grand Night champion Stylish Hatchet HTX. I need from Morgantown, Kentucky, Sean Burden with night champion Cooney Valley Pack. This dog is owned by Terry Yoder. I need from McKee, Kentucky, J.R. Gray with Grand Night champion Mill Creek Willie B. Dog is owned by Kendall Norris and Zach Norris. And then we need from Huntington, Indiana, Bobby Taylor with night champion Phelan Sharp. Cast number 9.
So that casts a bunch of Kentuckiana boys, Kentucky, Indiana, and earlier today you were talking to me about Mr. Yoder and said he was definitely one to watch. Tell us a little bit about Terry and his dog.
Well, the gentleman that we talked about earlier, the race car driver.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there's an interesting story there. We met the gentleman today, and he was very much involved in race car driving and had a serious wreck, I guess, and the wife said, hey, no more racing. It's time to coon hunt or do something else. So
he's ready to go out
here. He's ready to go, yeah.
Cast number 9.
He's involved with a couple of dogs in this hunt. So the thing that stands...
Cast number 10, Landon Nave will be your guide. Your judge is going to be Jordan Coble. I need from Jasper, Arkansas, Grand Night champion Rockin' Red Ruby, Clayton Smith. Need from Messina, New York, night champion Carvel's Bull. He's owned by Jim Carvel and Troy Marshall. I need Chris Holmes out of Laura, South Carolina with night champion Shack's Redneck Shine. And then from Dover, Arkansas, Owen Shelby with Grand Night champion G&G's Get Treed Snot that is owned by Greg Wilson, cast number 10.
I'll tell you, the thing that definitely has to stand out most to me in cast number 10 is we actually have a dog whose call name is Snot. Now, did you ever think you'd see that at an event?
I never did. Honestly, never did. But the dogs' names are getting a lot more unique, I've noticed,
No
over
doubt
the years.
about it.
It used to be Old Spot and Old Joe.
Amen.
No
Now-
more, folks.
Now we've got Snot here, so cast number 10 definitely wins the award for the most unique name. Let's take it on back over to Alan for cast number 11.
All right, here we go with cast number 11. Tracy Inslee will be your guide. Your judge is going to be Lucas Barkman. And he from Ottumwa, Iowa, Grand Night champion Diggers, Blue Spot, Darren and Lisa Batterson. Darren will be the handler. And he from Clio, Michigan, Grand Night champion 3 Days Grace, Brett Herman and Charlie Bruton are the owner's handler is Brett Herman. And he from Oran, Missouri, Clayton Susita with Grand Night champion Backwater Devil Ansi. And then we need from Fresno, Ohio, Jim Ehrenholt with Grand Night champion Spoon Creek Drifter, cast number 11.
So, Steve, I know you know almost all these guys in cast number 11. If you had to pick one of those four, who do you think is going to be the other
man,
three?
now you're putting me on the spot here.
Hadn't done that yet. It's time.
Well, you know what? The thing that I don't know. I can't pick a winner. I guess I would like that 3 Days Grace. That's what I'd like to have in a lot of situations. But old Devil Ants is in there. You know, up pops the devil.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's going to be an interesting cast for sure.
That's the one we definitely want to see the results from later
That's
tonight.
right.
So let's take it on back over to Alan. We got cast number 12. We're about to be 3/4 of the way done with our cast call.
All right, here we go. All right, here we go with cast number 12. Jimmy Lundy is going to be your guide. Your judge is going to be Jeremy Kidd. And he's from Pomaria, South Carolina, Stephen Cromer with Grand Night champion Carolina Blues Diesel. From Taylor, South Carolina, Jonathan Long with night champion Mountain Valley Shorty. From Fieldon, Illinois, David Gilman with national dual champion, Grand Night champion Gilman's Rebels Redneck Roll. And then we need from Sedan, Kansas, night champion Mafia's Late Night Gambler, Tyler Walker, cast number 12.
Shorty, who's on a roll gambling and running on diesel fuel here. But you know, these guys in this cast, it's a variety there also again. Absolutely,
and this roll dog, this black and tan dog, came out of Iowa with 2 cast wins and a total of 1,212 and a half points. He was really on a roll up there for sure. Yeah. So he's going to be kind of one to watch in that cast, I think.
Definitely going to keep our own roll.
Absolutely.
All right, let's take a look at our next four.
All right, cast number 13, Kenny Trees will be your guide. Your judge is going to be Steve Basham. And he's from Elijah, Georgia. Night champion Snitches Get Stitches. This dog is owned by William Cochran, Jacob Humphreys. Jacob is going to be the handler. Need from Dixon, Tennessee, Austin Lane. Grand Night champion Stone Throne Pebbles. Dog is owned by Buzz Lynch and Kurt Gehring and Tony Lane. Need from Hot Springs, Arkansas, Tim Cannon. The night champion Booze, Break It Off Bandit. Dog is owned by Timmy and Johnny Cannon. And then we need John Strickland from Springfield, Kentucky with National Grand Night champion Sundown. Dog is owned by John Strickland, Doug Galbraith, Ashley Guthrie, and Ashley Oxendine. Cast number 13.
I tell you, I really like this cast, Steve, because it's got such a strong field of dogs. I mean, love all 4 of them. I really am partial to Pebbles. Beautiful little girl dog, small, compact, has a lot of features I like. But then, you know, piled right in there in this cast with a national Grand Night champion in Apollo. So yeah. I would think this is going to be one of the toughest casts to win of the night.
I certainly agree. And, of course, the Sundown dog, his call name is Apollo that you mentioned too.
Right.
So, yeah, that's definitely one to watch. Should be action-packed all the way.
Good deal.
A lot of dogs are getting to themselves, I'd say.
Great. So, Austin, who do we got next?
All right, cast number 14, Tom Hacker will be your guide. Your judge is going to be Jared Lehman. Need from Lehigh, Utah. Grand Night champion, Heat Seeker, Unleash the Kraken. Grant Whitmer and Trevor Hacker, the owners, handled by Trevor. A need from Ocala, Florida. Grand Night champion, Lay 'em Up, Here Comes the Boom. Ike Rainey and Malcolm Rains are the owner, handled by Jeff Stallard. A need from Columbia City, Indiana, Josh Jones. With Grand Night champion, J&J Bad Boy, George Strait. Dog is co-owned with Jessica Jones. And we need from Union City, Michigan, Shane Maxey with Night Champion Kentucky Moonlight Kid. Dog is owned by Jesse Foley and Adam Wingler. That's on cast number 14.
So tell us about cast number 14 here. What are your thoughts on this group of 4 dogs? I know you know most all of them.
Well, I've got a lot of thoughts about this cast here. I used to live in Michigan, so one of the dogs is from Michigan. That might be a favorite. Then another dog's from Florida, where I live now, so that kind of would be a favorite. And my favorite country singer of all time is George Strait, and he's in this cast. So, man, I got a lot of favorites. I'm going to have to make some choices here.
You do, and talk about a wide geographic area. We've got a dog from Florida, a dog from Michigan, and a judge, if I understood right, from Utah. So that is definitely an interesting cast. Well, we're almost down to the wire. We've got a couple left. Alan, who we got next?
Cast number 15, Mike Comer is going to be your guide. Your judge is going to be Nick Eimel. Need from Holston, Kansas. Grand Night champion, Rolling Hills Rock. Rick Mick or Skylar Mick, handled by Skylar Mick. Need from Thornville, Ohio. Thornville, Ohio. That's going to be Cody Sipe with Night champion Big Time Ruby. That is owned by Kevin Morehouse. Need from Rocky Mount, North Carolina, Clint Harold with Grand Night champion Engine Kit. And then rounding out this cast number 15 is going to be Lima from Lima, Ohio, Dylan Everill with Grand Night champion Stylish Little Whitey. Cast number 15.
Okay, we've got 15 down and only 1 to go. Any observations there, Steve?
Well, certainly we got 1 red bone in this cast. Again, we got 3 walkers. Engine Kit is the red bone. Where we get this name, I don't know, but I want to find out. That's pretty interesting.
You know, what's going to be interesting about that to me, too, is talking about having a red bone running with 3 treeing walkers who are known to cover a lot of ground, but you've got a red bone named Engine Kick. Again, I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of miles covered in the 2 hours tonight with cast number 15.
Well, I hope our judges enjoyed that great meal that we had earlier, because they're going to need it for
They definitely got some good fuel to go on. Well,
absolutely.
Folks, that brings us to the last cast of the evening. Alan, introduce us to the 4 dogs in cast number 16.
All right, cast number 16. Cody Fields is going to be your guide. Your judge is going to be Jeremy Cox. Need from Flemington, Missouri. Grand Night champion Gamble's Big Time Barley. Dog is owned by Wayne Gamble and Jacob Lloyd, handled by Jacob. Need from Lewis, Indiana, Andy, Canada, with Grand Night champion Briar Creek, Jake the Snake, that is owned by Chris Girth and Jim Ridge. Need from Buffalo, Texas. Elijah Ward with Night champion Reason to Go Full Throttle. This dog is owned by Cole McVeigh. And then rounding out the last dog on cast 16 is going to be also from St. Joe, Texas. Grand Night champion PR Strike Old Gunner Jay Clark II. Cast number 16.
Okay, Steve, so that rounds out our field. 64 dogs, 16 casts. Now, before we wrap it up tonight, give me your overall thoughts on night 1 here. What are you really getting out of this?
Well, what I'm seeing here is a lot of obviously outstanding dogs coming from across the United States. I had the opportunity to go through all the scores of all of these dogs from the regions. They all showed up real well at the region level. This last cast that they called had 2 dogs from Texas, a great coon hunting state, Texas. And overall, it's just a real exciting field. Most of the dogs are in that kind of sweet spot of age of 3 to 4 years old, kind of in there. But we got the youngsters like the Apollo dogs, just 2 now, already a national title behind him. And then we've got some veterans. We saw some in our meet and greet earlier, some 8 and 9 year olds out there. So anyway, it's just a great field. It's going to be exciting. We're real. It's going to be just fun. absolute a blast for a coon hunter. No doubt.
Amen. And definitely the highest purse that we've ever had here at the United Kennel Club, $200,000 for the total purse, $50,000 to the winner tomorrow night. So we're less than 24 hours away from giving that check away. Of course, we're going to be back here with you tomorrow night, but we also want to tell you, you've got the opportunity to follow us on the United Kennel Club social media channels. That's at UKC Hunt Ops. So be sure and follow us on social media and share a picture of your dog with us. Be sure and hashtag it UKC Hunt Ops and hashtag Dogs That Do More and hashtags UKC TOC 2021. So we're about to close out here, but remember, we're going to be back tomorrow night here at the United Kennel Club Tournament of Champions here in Greencastle, Indiana. Our live stream will start at about 8:25 Eastern Daylight Time. We're going to take you through all the action tomorrow night. We're not just going to do the cast call, but we're going to be here with you for the live stream for the duration of the event, right up until the end when we pass off that $50,000 check to our winners. So for my good buddy and living legend in the coonhound world, Steve Fielder here, I'm J. Paul Jackson. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight to the United Kennel Club Tournament of Champions.